On the set, on the scene, welcome back to the Bricks. As usual, Ken Boyer, alongside me, the newly named Mr. One Time, Michael Lewis. Broadcast from BPR Studios. We here, man, been a crazy weekend, man. We took time to really get into these games, the NCAA tournament. I mean, how do you feel about how everything shaped out, Mike?
Well, to me, it's pretty much not what you expected, but some teams that you really were surprised that fell off. You know, Indiana was picked by the president of the United States to go all the way and win the whole thing.
I was surprised.
I couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
The fact that you had, 5 days to prepare.
Yeah.
Tom Crean couldn't get them boys ready, man.
Yeah. And more than that, he didn't have an answer for it through the entire game. But I mean, I feel like in that situation, like with Indiana and Syracuse, I mean, they're just big, long, athletic. Man, the zone like locked them down completely. Nowhere to go. Little Jordan Holmes was out there, man, trying his best to do something. Man. It's nothing you can do. I mean, that I don't feel like you can teach or game it. I mean, he's not going to grow 3 inches during the game, no matter how much you coach him. Victor Oladipo, he looked pretty basic. Yeah, pretty basic, pretty normal out there. Like, that's the one thing I really got from this weekend in these games. Yeah. The Sweet 16 really weeds it out and see who's the fakers, ready. You know what I mean, and who really is who's ready. You know what I mean. A lot of guys, stepped up. Yeah. I mean, throughout the entire Sweet 16, and the ones who proved to be just like average players or normal guys. I mean, that held true.
I mean, and then you talk about we talk about Golden Boys. The people talk about Patriots, Tom Brady, and really the Golden Boy for Indiana was Cody Zeller, and he just looked. I almost forgot he was out there.
Exactly,
man. Didn't make no kind of an impact. 3 for 11 from the field, 11 points. Yeah.
He didn't chase his shot. I think really with Cody Zeller in Indiana, I mean, he's a guy that he has to find his shot. He has to go looking for his shot. In games like this, like at this level, your superstars have to be those guys. Period. Like, it's no room for anything else. Ohio State, like, they had problems and troubles going into, their game. Unless Deshaun Thomas stepped up, it was Deshaun Thomas, and Aaron Craft stepped up, it was Aaron Craft, you don't win. You know what I mean? You had, your bench, people, come in and lend a hand and things like that. But it's like, honestly, those guys have to keep you in the game. And these, like, it's superstars versus superstars in this.
Tournament is about guard play.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you talking about, bring up Ohio State. They had to go down to the wire, literally. Twice. Yeah. But I'm saying that's what it takes. If it's a winning play that has to be made, your go-to players have to make it. Yeah. Indiana, they tried. They got down pretty big with 20 points. The closest they got in the second half was 12. Yeah. That's not going to cut it, man.
No, not at all. But I think really, guard play, you're right about that. Guard play is crucial because they have to get your offense and everything set up. But I think you see the differences in transforming from, like, saying playing in the Big Ten and then playing in like these teams. Like now that's in the tournament. In the Big Ten, you're forced to use every person on your team, and you have to move the ball and do a lot of different things. And you can win that way. That's what it takes to win in the Big Ten. But when you coming into the tournament, superstars stand out in this game. Those other guys that are role players, they're going to get picked out real easy, and that's going to be like, hey, match up, take that, a quick one.
Take them out the game.
A quick clear out. Yeah, quick clear out on stuff like that. So I think that's really like what I think doomed Indiana. Cody Zeller really didn't step up and do what he was supposed to do and really find his shot and be that guy. And quite frankly, the biggest game everybody's talking about, this past weekend, Michigan and Kansas. And I feel like they went in that same mode. Trey Burke, who was the star of that team, the entire first half didn't score a point.
Donut. Y'all remember that? Donut.
Didn't score anything. Like, he's thinking, facilitate, which he did get Mitch McGarry, who's my, That guy is the star of this entire tournament.
Yes, sir.
He's been balling out. But Trey Burke following that same mode as Cody Zeller, you know, the first half of the game. I mean, you have to step up and be a superstar. In order to win these games, man, your superstar have to step up and be a superstar. Their superstar McNamara on the other end, you know, he stepped up in this game when he's been cold the entire tournament. Yeah. They say he's lost himself, but in order for you to survive and make it through this, it has to be, you know, your stars have to step up. Forget the team ball. You play your team ball, but like, call a play for your superstar, man. Right. Run a play for your superstar. Right. Let him be the star and be the guy, because that's what leads people to Final Fours, the Carmelo Anthony's, the Dwayne Wades, people like that. That's who's going to get you there.
Well, I mean, you think, and then he said it at the end of the game in an interview, you know, with Craig Sager. He said, hey, look, coach told me at the half, you got to be more aggressive.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand, you know, you getting, want to dish the ball and make sure you're getting your teammates going and don't want to force it. I think a lot of times you don't want to do too much to where you end up causing your teammates the game.
Right, right.
But the good thing about it is, even though he didn't score, he was facilitating really well. You know, they were only down 6 at the half. That's perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
To be going up against the #1 seed.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and for him to do what he did, man, the second half dropping 23 points, shooting 9 for 17 from the field. Yeah. And then you scored 13 of the final 21 points for your team. Yeah. Hey, man, that's money time.
That was big time right there. That was big time. I mean, like Trey Burke really just took over the game.
Took over.
When I seen this guy, I mean, a lot of people seen, you know, Casey, you know, people out there don't know, you know, the Michigan Wolverines win in overtime versus Kansas 87-85. But
if y'all didn't know.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you was under a rock this past weekend, you know what I mean? But yeah. Trey Burke really stepped up, and a lot of people say, man, no one's seen this coming. I know a lot of people turned the TV off and say, oh, no, okay, it's no way.
I know quite a few people that said they stopped watching.
Yeah. But I was one of the few who thought, man, listen, you got to go get it. Go get it, man. And Trey really stepped up and did what he was supposed to do. And I seen him, the look in his eye, how he was penetrating, getting into the lane at will on Kansas's defense, bringing, you know what I mean, that big guy with the out, with the pick and rolls. But then he just started just pulling, you know, pulling from everywhere, being that superstar. I mean, he decided to come back for another year, you know, for his chance to go to the NBA last year, to come back for this. Bro, you don't get another chance.
No, you don't.
And this entire team and this makeup, Tim Hardaway Jr., he's going after this year, you know, probably as well with Trey Burke. You know, and another guy, I don't know if people really is talking about that now, Mitch McGary, how he's looking, I'm sure NBA, you know, coaches and everything is salivating right now. This guy, when he's getting a chance, when he gets the Jordan Morgan hump off his back, you know, now he's able to shine and spotlight and be the guy, you know what I mean, who looks pretty dangerous. He looks like the, you know, the best big man in the tournament I've seen so far.
It just looks like he's very tough, man. He's hungry. There's a motor to him. He don't get tired. He goes after everything. And the thing is, his touch around the rim. You know, a few times he caught it about 10, 15 feet out. Nice little, just soft. And the thing is, you got to have good hands, man. You know, the many times you saw Burke penetrating, drop right to him, he go right up. You know, no fumble, no nothing, just right up.
Exactly.
So the thing is, if you're going to have a dynamic point guard, a star player in Trey Burke, you got to have a big person down low. You know, it's the perfect 1-2 punch.
And the thing is, you see with him, it doesn't take as much as that. You know, there's no reason for Jordan Morgan to get 30 minutes in the game, and the guy gives you 4 points and 8 rebounds or 10 rebounds. Yeah, maybe that's cool, and you think that because that's Jordan Morgan's, you know, ceiling. But in a team where you have the best backcourt in the country, you know, and Trey Burke and Tim Hardaway Jr., you know, a lot of those things that Mitch McGary getting are bunnies, man. It's just about effort and strength and being down there, bang, grabbing the rebound, simple layup on a pick and roll, being able to roll and catch the ball on the roll and put it right back up. You know, Jeff Whitley, I mean, a big guy, 7'1", you know, 7'3", wingspan, all of that don't mean anything.
It don't.
This dude got a wide body, get down there, hustle, grind in there, man. That's where the big boys play down there, down low. You grab the rebound, you put it back up. A lot of those are bunnies. You know,
they just had so many key plays that allowed them to come back that I felt if they didn't happen, they would not have won. The biggest one to me was the 11-second count that Burke forced onto Elijah Johnson. Elijah, you know, he kind of was just dribbling and taking his time. Next thing you know, the refs, over and back, sir, you didn't get up over enough time. That play right there is when they had the ball down 10. I said, okay, you know what? It's about a minute 42 left. Maybe if they make a few shots before the minute mark, they got a shot. Yeah,
and you know what, Trey Burke? It was becoming that time.
It was.
At the end of every big game he's won this year, he's had one of those type of steals, one of those type of defensive plays. Not even the offensive play. And those are the things that wakes him up when you see like, okay, this guy's turned it on. And that's what made me see really like, oh yeah, they're in this game. Trey turned, he turned up right now. You know what I mean?
Another level, another notch.
Another level, man. Make that steal, make a stop like that, backcourt stop. And you know, even seeing, you know, Glenn Robinson III come out there, you know, he played a good game. He wasn't searching for his shot as aggressively as I feel like he should. That guy is loaded with potential and talent. You know what I mean? But these guys, they can match up with him athletically though with Kansas.
Glenn Robinson did get that loose ball
in the layup.
That is what set up everything as well. That cut it to 3. At that point, then you put the pressure back on him to make free throws, and you saw what happened next. Elijah Johnson missed it.
Yeah, I mean, he came out, you know, low blowing. You know, he came out ready to. I don't know where his head was at. I mean, but it seemed like at the beginning with him, you know, he got 2 quick fouls and without.
But did you see the first one?
Yeah, of course.
What was that about?
That was so. What would your head be? What? And he hasn't even done anything.
The game was literally, it was 18:50 on the clock. The game just started. There's no way he did anything for you to make him do that. Yeah, that was a joke, man.
Yeah, and I think it really with Mitch McGary, I don't know if it was meant to be more of an intimidation or something like that for him, but it turned out to be the other way because guys, you know, if you start out low blowing, you that intimidated by me, you scared of me. Yeah, you know what I mean. So then I'm going in now. You know what I mean? That he had a backlash like, man, you soft for that one. You know, so I'm gonna take over.
Check the stat line.
Exactly. That's what he said. So that and from then, I mean, his whole game was off. The rest of his teammates seemed like they didn't even like what he was doing. His coach looking like, come on, man. It's like he said at the half. You know, Bill Self said, you know, he makes a bonehead play. Why would you do that, bro? Why would you do that?
It wasn't even the flow of the game. It just came out of nowhere. And I just couldn't. When I saw it, I couldn't believe it, man. I was like, is this guy serious?
Yeah.
So,
because I thought maybe, you know, Mitch McGary, I mean, but he's not one, as you see his hustle. I mean, the guy plays the game the right way that you want to play. No, not a dirty guy at all. I look like, man, is this what Kansas do? Like, why would you do something like that? That's the stupidest thing. He couldn't have did that, but they, you know, played the replay and I seen the guy. I'm like, oh, come on, man. Seriously, it's a wrap. And they met up with the 2 head coaches. I believe they had a conversation with the referees, Bill Self and John Beilein, saying, listen, this should really be, you know what I mean, a flagrant 2. But we don't want to take charge in this game. So do you agree with the fact that we're going to give you a flagrant 1 and you know what I mean? And you go on, you get the ball, your 2 shots. You know, which you didn't even, you know, Karma, he didn't even make the shots. You know what? I don't even want these. Really, don't give me anything. I'm taking it. You know what I mean? He took it to him all game long down low, and they knew it was nothing they could do. You see him shine away from the screens because they, you know, the highlights. See Mitch McGary setting the screens on VCU. They didn't want any of that big boy.
It's a big fella.
So
man.
I mean, that was probably, you know, that was the classic of this tournament so far.
And the fact that you can help, you know, Jeff Withey. To me, he really didn't have his impact on the game offensively. He only had 12 points. I mean, you know, 8 rebounds. There's not really Withey numbers. The game before he had 16, 16, and 5. He did have 5 blocks, though. I will say that. He did keep up with his defense, but they controlled him. They made sure they didn't let him make the one to kill him. I
mean, I think, though, with Kansas, it seemed like they were doing so much more because everything they did came so easy, though.
True.
You know, they had over 40 points. I mean, just in the paint. You know, they didn't even have to step outside and do
34 of the 40 were in the paint. At the end of the first half.
Yeah, that was it. They were getting easy shots. Michigan was working really hard for everything that they were, you know, had to get. And the guy that still, you know, which we talked about, who I thought was the key factor, Nick Stauskas, he still didn't step up and play the type of game that he played. You know, he had a chance for, you know, a 4-point play.
Yes, he did.
You know, going into the half, and he misses the, you know, the free throws. This guy's missing free throws. You know, he's missing open threes. You know, I don't know, you know, where Nick Stauskas is at right. I don't know where he's at right now, but I feel like he's still yet to turn on, man.
And the thing is, you know, eventually you're gonna need him if you want to win this whole thing. You are going to need everybody. You know, me personally, Tim Hardaway didn't have a great game either. 11 points. But the thing is, everybody seemed like they played defense when they needed to. The final 3 minutes was perfect. Yeah. Now, do you wish they wouldn't put themselves in that type of situation? Of course. The thing is, everybody chips in when they can. Yeah. McGarry and Burke carried them in the second half pretty much. Yeah. You know, you make sure they stay in the game.
The entire game. McGarry actually kept them in the game and allowed for their superstar to take over in Trey Burke at the end of the game. Or else you wouldn't have had a chance at all. If McGarry hadn't done what he did, you know what I mean, that game, it would have been over. The fact, more than even just the point score and the things that he did, but just maintaining that, hey, we have a presence out here. He had a presence out there to let them know that, man, we're not backing down. It's still one guy you can't handle. And then when Trey Burke turned on in the second half, they let them know that, hey, you know what, these guys are for real. They went to celebrate, and Kansas thought it was all in the boat. You know, they were going to go away. It was going to be, there's no way they were going to come back. And once Trey Burke, you know, and they started to roll and turn on, and after he hit that three, they might as well have ended it at the end of the, you know, regulation, because that game was over. That was it. Knew it was over. Yeah, Kansas felt like going into that overtime, like, oh, we lost already.
I think they knew it. Yeah, I think they knew. The momentum swung too much Michigan's way. Yeah, he hit it. It looked like a 50-footer. You know, to take it to overtime. I mean, you gotta win. Yeah, you have to win. But
it looked like that in the game. But the thing is, Michigan only outscored them by 2 points in overtime, 11-9.
That's true.
But the thing is, the momentum and the way that Kansas played in that overtime, it seemed like Michigan had control throughout. Like they were on top. Kansas were chasing them. Kansas was out of the game. Yeah. By the end of regulation, they were like, man, this is no, we lost. That was such a shocker and a heartbreak to them that it was over, because you know they had it going into there. I mean, they only won by 2 points. Yeah. It's not like Michigan came in and won by 7 at the end of, you know, overtime or something like that. They were there, but they lost in regulation. It was it for Kansas.
It felt like a you know, they were on the road. Kansas was the home team. You know.
Oh, that was
looking at a crowd, all these Kansas fans everywhere. Yeah. That's the motto. When you're on the road, keep it close. You always want to be within striking distance. Right. You don't know what's going to happen. Just to stay close. See if you can get them at the end. That's even in NBA playoffs the same way. Yeah. Whenever you're on the road, just see what happens.
Man. Now, you know, Michigan travels. That's another thing. Yeah. I mean, I know Michigan has a huge presence too in Texas. Now, Kansas, I mean, that's obviously set right there in Big 12 country. But you would think more Michigan, you know, fans would be there than there were. Yeah. I mean, it was a pure Kansas home crowd there. I mean, that's what sparked them and fueled them, I think, in the first half. Is really, you know, having that crowd and everything like that. I think guys, and a lot of people may have been, you know, in between just fans of college basketball, period. Because I've seen when momentum started to change for Michigan, a lot of guys I've seen even, you know, in the stands that may have been neutral, who I thought were on Kansas side. They may have came there thinking, hey, we going to a game, you know, Big 12 we represent. Starting to become fans of Michigan and seeing like these guys really, you know, they get after it, man. And by the, you know, at the end of regulation, I mean, it was all Michigan. It was all Michigan.
That was just that. See, those type of games to me is what makes the NCAA tournament so special. That's March Madness for you. You know, you think it's over. They down 14 under 4 minutes left. Oh man, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna watch something else. Or I'm gonna go to sleep, or I'm gonna get something. You know, leave. But hey, you gotta watch the whole. You don't know what's gonna happen, man. Something crazy could happen in any game. So I'm just happy that Michigan was a part of it.
Yeah, I'm happy that they pulled that out. That was, I mean, I feel like Kansas from the beginning. I don't know if it was, you know, the low blow starting off, or you know, the overwhelming, you know, crowd competition. I just felt like Kansas coming into that. I mean, they more so lost that game in the first, you know, at the end of regulation. But I feel like, or close to the end of regulation, to 1 minute, you know, or so at the end of regulation in overtime, Michigan won that game. They did. Michigan won it. Kansas gave it up. They lost it at that point, but Michigan did win. So it was, I mean, it was a real good game, man.
One of the best games. That's going to be considered a classic game.
Oh yeah, definitely worth staying up and watching that game. You know, on the latter end, transitioning, you know, but staying with the state of Michigan, Michigan State losing to the Dukies. You know, I mean, that one was tight going into half, but once again, you know, that the talent, once you transition and going into that crunch time, the talent shows up, man, and Duke was able to, you know, to pull out on Michigan State. I mean, how did you feel about how that went?
It's unfortunate because you wanted both of them to make it. Me personally, I'm a big fan of Tom Izzo. I really respect what he does. Respect his personality is reflected amongst his players. He's gritty. He wants his guys to play hard on every possession. He's very fiery on the sideline. He lets you know if you're upset about something. But it just, for some reason, when they play Duke, it's like they had a number, man. Coach K, they're good friends. They respect each other, but for some reason, Coach K just has his number. He's got 4 titles to his 1. He's beaten them the last 6 times they played. I don't know, man. It's just anytime they match up, I'm nervous. I want Michigan State to win, but it's like Duke always ends up prevailing.
Yeah, I think it's how teams like the Lakers have had in the NBA or the Patriots and the NFL. I think it's more mystique when it comes to Duke. I mean, they have talent. Don't get me wrong, but Michigan State matched up pretty well with them. I feel like
on paper,
yeah, definitely. But I feel like with them, it's more of a mystique. Duke is kind of like, man, when you look at that jersey, when you battling you down, you look at your jersey, and if it doesn't say Duke on it, and the other team, on the other side says Duke, you start thinking like, you know what, we probably not gonna win this one.
Maybe we should be here.
We probably gonna lose.
Maybe we shouldn't be on the floor.
Yeah. I mean, not being on the floor, but it's just like they just have it. Like sometimes a lot of those guys, they come in with that swag or that, that personality and that confidence that, hey, we're gonna come out and we're gonna win, because they're used to doing it in their high schools and where they come from, the best players, from where they come from, and they just implant themselves into that, and with the whole nostalgia and the mystique and the tradition that comes from some of these programs. I mean, I think sometimes that gives you an added edge and advantage, and sometimes teams just they turn up, man. When the time is right, you turn up. It didn't get Kansas anywhere, right? But I don't feel like Kansas is as talented of a team as they've been in the past. I mean, with the Morris twins, last year, last couple of years, been carrying those guys where they were super talented. You see Kansas over here, they're winning. You know what I mean? But I really didn't see it like we talked about Streaky McNamara. If he hadn't stepped up and had one of his best games of the season, they wouldn't have been where they were at. Everything was falling. I mean, he was hitting 3-pointers from half court, banking them in.
Seth Curry?
Yeah. No, I'm talking about McNamara. He was banking them in. But Seth Curry, of course, he was lighting it up. So hitting those, man. That's just with Duke. It's a tough thing, man. You got one Curry. I thought he played for Davidson. Who was this? And, oh my God, another one of these guys. Yeah, they just
plays almost the same way.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a good tournament overall, but definitely the Michigan and Kansas game was the highlight of the weekend. It was the highlight. But we'll be back to talk about more about the NCAA tournament as it progresses. We'll keep you up to date and follow throughs with the Bricks. Ken Boyer, Mike Lewis, broadcast from BPR Studio. It's the Bricks.